Alright, we're gonna do that again. Mean Miss got a band of meddlers isn't totally wrong no matter what. True. There's just too many things people don't know. And I mean all of them. Now. Alright. Luca Van Horn going to save the world. A little anticlimactic that I made the wrong choice.
And in the stillness, he began to hum.
Let's see if we can do better this time.
After the death of his father, Luca had trouble sleeping. Each night, his mother would sit at the foot of his bed and hum a gentle melody. It was the only thing that could calm his mind. The only thing that, however briefly, could make it all seem okay. That melody pervaded every memory Luca had of his mother. Shivering in the raw snow, he began to hum it out loud. Gran lowered the torch, listening closely. As recognition slowly set in, her heart sank. Those countless nights of consolation, the incomparable loss they shared together. She let the torch fall to the snow and sizzle out. A few steps toward Luca was all she could bear before dropping to the snow herself. Through a flood of tears, she began to hum along, note for note. Luca lifted his head in astonishment. The last time he heard that melody was the last night he saw his mother.
How do you know? I'm so sorry, my little buckaroo. Buckaroo. The only people who call me that are my dad and your mother. Called it! Freaking called it!
Blinked through blurry, watery eyes, trying to see more clearly. He could just make out the impression of a familiar face. He peered across the snowscape at the woman on her knees. Something about her was undeniably his mother, only smaller, older, changed.
Mom? That's right, buckaroo. Mom!
Luca sprinted as fast as he could toward his mother. They held each other close, and the cold retreated from their bodies.
Oh, Eleanor? I thought you were gone. You should have known I would never abandon my son.
Eleanor looked down at Luca, tightening her embrace in an appeal for forgiveness.
How? You're a smart man, Joseph. I thought you'd have pieced it together by now. You were exposed. Mom, I don't understand any of this. What happened to you? Where did you go? Why did you leave me? I never left. I was always right here, Luca. Why did you lie to me? You tore me up, Luca, but I did it to keep you safe. thought that getting answers would help us both move on. But the more I discovered, the more I realized the danger we were in. Until perennial harvest was stopped, it was better if everyone thought I was gone. You could have trusted me. These are bad people, Luca. They won't stop until they get what they want. And they don't care who gets hurt in the process. Then what do? We have to stop them.
Joseph slumped into the cold, wet snow.
They can't be stopped. This is too big. I tried beating them at their own game. I'm done fighting fire with fire.
For the first time in a long time, her voice felt like her own again.
No more lies. I see now. There's a better way to stop perennial harvest. The cold, hard truth.
Luca gazed down at Nuncreed with pity. He looked small. Joseph stared into the snow, as if searching it for answers.
Come on, everyone. We've got a party to crash. You don't understand. He always wins.
Chapter 9. The Devil You Know. 7 months ago.
Okay, what are we betting that Sharper Valentine isn't dead and gone either?
Eleanor Van Horn crept down the maze of sterile hallways under perennial harvest. She stopped in front of the large steel door marked Deep Engineering. No turning back now. She raised a trembling hand. The stolen keycard worked as promised, and the door buzzed open with mechanical efficiency. She was immediately hit with the smell of disinfectant. It was some sort of laboratory. In one corner was a desk covered in papers. Across the room stood a tall metal pod with hoses protruding from its base. She rushed to the desk and began shifting through the piles of papers. They were experiment reports on something called Tempus liquamen. There were dozens of them. Every one stamped failed. Eleanor heard the sharp echo of footsteps approaching. She was out of time. Her eyes scanned the room, eventually landing on the strange pod. Muttering a curse under her breath, she dashed over and dove inside.
And that is what change is all about. Grabbing the future by the scruff of the neck and making things happen. Change is a choice. I'm tickled pink that we will all be making that choice together. How great is that? This man is a liar. Excuse me? I will not. This town has a dangerous secret and perennial harvest only exists to keep it hidden. Nonsense. They picked up the whole damn town and moved it right under our noses. You aren't making any sense, dear.
Mr. Kerr addressed the crowd with a sarcastic tone.
Imagine such a thing. It's absurd and just plain impossible. They promised they could fix the foul harvest. They told us they would clean this place up. We just had to leave town for a few days. But when they had us evacuated... Mrs. Hartford, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to... You're afraid of a lot of things, aren't you? You sniveling little worm. This is growing tiresome. A little help, please? Don't you all see? This festival is a sham. An excuse to have the whole town gather in one place. They're planning something awful. I don't know what, but these people are wicked. Don't listen to her. She has absolutely no proof. I am the proof. I'm Eleanor Van Horn.
Whispers filtered through the crowd.
Well, aren't you just sneaky as Dickens? We all knew Valentine's fertilizer was too good to be true. And now this whole town is paying the price. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so sorry about this disruption. My associates will take this obviously disturbed woman somewhere comfortable, so that she can get the help she needs. She's not the one who's disturbed. You two-timing clown. You'll know there's something wrong with this town. It was just easier to look the other way. The truth is, that's quite enough, Mr. Nuncrete.
Torment dragged on Joseph Nuncrete's face.
Call it! Call it again! Call it again! Call it again! Call it again! Yes, sir! Take them away. No, I want them to see this. Ah, the ever-tempestuous Eleanor Van Horn. You've been quite the thorn in my side. Like a weed that's burrowed in where it doesn't belong. I must confess, you look
He
dreadful.
paused for a moment, plucking a piece of fuzz from his sweater and discarding it to the ground.
Consider yourself in rare company. You've managed to pull one over on me. It won't happen again. I knew you had some sort of plan to disrupt the little party. But alas, I expected something a bit more impressive than incoherent rambling. No matter, your failures are yours to bear. Mr. Curl? Yes, sir? It's a shame it was cut short, but I thank you for that rousing oratory. I will take it from here. Yes, sir. Of course, sir. You've done quality work for me, William. You can look forward to the recompense we agreed upon.
Kerr gave a bow of deference.
Founder, you are most gracious.
Gasps rippled through the crowd.
Called it! Thankfully, we can dispense with the formalities from here on out.
Solomon pulled a glass vial from his pocket. In one smooth motion, he downed its contents. A triumphant smile grew across Solomon's lips.
You can all call me Sharper Valentine.
His body and face began to contort and expand as he disappeared into a belching green mist. A hushed horror gripped the crowd. This is a story about change.
What? No! Ah, so you didn't see that coming. Good.
Sharper examined his new hands.
Well, this is quite the improvement. Everything looks so much smaller now. Also, how convenient that apparently your clothes changed by drinking some liquid, and they also changed size. Because if they didn't, you would have ripped through your clothes and would stand naked before the crowd, which would be a little bit awkward, you know. Eleanor was right about one thing. This festival was a ruse. I wanted you all to witness my glorious return with your own eyes. Why does everyone look so downtrodden? This is a celebration, people. Maybe it would help if we set the mood. Mr. Kerr, be a dear and reveal the sign. Of course, Solomon had some other kid manipulate the sign. I forgot about that after having the theory that Solomon would be Sharper Valentine. Ha! Wonderful.
Sharper choked out a crude squawk of a laugh. Frustrated grumbles sprinkled through the crowd.
Sharper, you malicious bastard. Still a new charm? I'm glad you're back, so I can tell you to your face. You destroyed this town. We ain't gonna let you get away with this again. Sorry, this is not a time for audience participation. Some assistance, Mr. Kerr?
Kerr gave a subtle nod to the clipboards.
You coward! Does anyone else have something to contribute? Yeah, I do. Eat shit!
A helpless quiet settled over the crowd.
If the charm would have been faster, it would have been funny. I thought so. Did you all truly believe you could be free of me? A town of complete and utter fools. You people should be celebrating my return. You're clearly lost without me. And that leads me nicely to my children. Daddy? I gave you both the greatest gift a parent can give. The opportunity to prove yourself in my absence. That is the greatest gift a parent can give their child. I mean, it fits the character, but for real, dude. Jesus Christ. Squandered. To say I am disappointed would be an understatement. But Silence, Augustus. An adult is speaking. I don't know which is worse. A son who is completely hopeless, or a daughter with such potential who inevitably lets me down. Arius, you fail me with admirable consistency. Thankfully, I was counting on it this time. Father, I have been wasting time, my dear. What have you accomplished? I was focused on cementing our legacy. Legacy? Who needs a legacy when you can just live forever? But what about... It's alright, kiddo. I'm afraid you suffer from a complete lack of imagination. There's just no helping it. Now then, where's Joseph? You didn't take the opportunity to slip off, did you? No, it's still him. Ah, there he is. Everyone should give him a hand. None of this would have been possible without Joseph. I think you've said enough. Nonsense! The people deserve to know how helpful and loyal you've been. I only did what I did because you left me no choice. You always had a choice, Joseph. You were simply too weak to take it. No matter. Cheer up. You're about to be rich beyond your wildest dreams. You should follow Mr. Kerr's example. When I found him, he was in a sorrier state than any of you. An aging actor, desperate to recapture his youth. He played his part, and soon he'll be able to play the leading man again. Forever, in fact, if he remains loyal. That goes for all of you. Well, those who haven't already frittered away my goodwill. Beacon Pines is mine again, and I'm willing to share its spoils in exchange for absolute loyalty. Wow. What kind of sorry ass needs to boost his ego by being a dictator in a small town with less than 30 people living in it? Sharper Valentine must have a phenomenally small dick. Are you saying William Kerr was never in charge of perennial harvest? You think that puffed up blatherskite would have accomplished all of this? Don, I suppose it's time for your big exclusive.
Sharper addressed the crowd with indignant pride. He'd planned this moment for so long that now, at the deed's fruition, it almost felt frivolous.
You see, I needed a figurehead to hold things down while I orchestrated my return. Someone to misdirect, lie, and bilk this town for a spell. So I invented William Kerr. Take your bow. You've earned it.
Mr. Kerr flourished a preposterously elaborate bow.
Patrick C. Montesquieu, thespian extraordinaire at your service and full of shit. Founder, I just want to thank you again for this opportunity. It truly was the role of a lifetime. Wait, so this Bill Kerr was a patsy the whole time? Now that the secret is out in the open, what's to stop this town from rising up against you? Oh, that's the delicious part. Fear. Thanks to our clipboards, I know what each and every person in this town fears most. And I will make those fears manifest for anyone who steps out of line. The choice is simple. I'm not afraid of you. The young hero. I've kept a keen eye on you, boy. You and your friends made a habit of disrupting my plans. What a pity. If things would have gone a bit differently, you might have had your moment of triumph. But that's fate for you. You can't do this! Oh, but I can. I have won. Never underestimate what a great man can do, given time. The inscription from the statue. And now time is my plaything. Perhaps the most expensive thing I've ever bought. But well worth it. Ha!
Sharper coughed up one final laugh and cracked his knuckles.
Enough chit-chat. Let's get to work, shall we?
And so, Sharper set about remaking the town in his own image. The fertilizer factory soon reopened for business. Sales rose steadily as more and more farmers across the countryside began to swear by its miraculous properties. Beacon Pines became famous, a secretive town that, for the right price, shared its gifts with all. Gifts that became more and more necessary in a world where winters grew longer and longer. The end. This is wrong, but things are becoming clearer now. You can feel it, right? We can't let Sharper win. He might just be the key to this whole thing. Let's see.